Most people use AI in a very temporary way. They open ChatGPT, Perplexity, or maybe even Claude. They build the context up again. Once they're happy with the output, then they copy it, paste it into a doc, and then usually move on. And this is definitely a valid approach for one-time tasks, but if you have to do something on a regular basis, then it gets quite repetitive and also really inefficient. And that is exactly the reason why I've created a blueprint for an agentic operating system. And it might sound complex, but believe me, it's really easy because at the end of the day, it's just a specific folder structure that allows you to put different skill sets into domains in order to be able to separate, first of all, skills that are not related to each other, but also the capability of using different skill sets for all of your clients or for your own projects. And to give you an example how that could look like, let's have a quick look into my own agentic operating system. And as you can see, I'm right now in the Agentic OS folder inside the skills subfolder. So it's actually the same as domains. And then I have, for instance, a domain for creating infographics, lead magnets, creating newsletters, generating content for social media, and also uploading it to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, and so forth. And to make that more clear, let's have a look into the infographics domain. And for that, I can simply navigate to the folder, open Claude, and afterwards search for the skills. And then we can see that if we scroll to the top, that we have one project skill. So the project skill is coming from the specific domain. And as an example, here I have one skill for creating diagrams, but also for creating a visual guide, which is kind of a PDF document that consists out of several infographics. And to give you quickly another example, let's say I want to write a newsletter. Then I would go into my newsletter domain, execute again Claude. We can also use Codex because it's CLI-agnostic. And if I list here also the skills, then we can see that there's also a project skill, which is draft your newsletter. And that is, for instance, a skill that I am using for writing my newsletters, at least for the draft. Another interesting domain is the social media domain. And for that, we can also quickly navigate into it, open Claude, and afterwards list the skills. And here we can see I have skills, for instance, for generating infographic carousels, publishing them to TikTok, Instagram, but also something like configuring an auto DM method. So most likely, you know, there's always like a picture or something and then comment with XY and then you will get a message. So I can also configure that directly from Claude Code or Codex. And the nice thing is that all of these domains are built in the same way. So if we go one folder back and then have a look into the specific domains, every single domain is built in the same way. So there's a skill folder. There are scripts, for instance, for communicating with APIs. There's a folder that is responsible for storing the memory. So let's say I published something on my social media account. Then the skill takes also care of putting that information into a memory file so that the next time there's also context to the things that were done in the past. And the complete structure follows exactly this approach here. So we have a root folder, which is the Agentic operating system blueprint. Then we have 4 markdown files. One is the typical Claude MD file. Then there's a README file for the repository and 2 other files. So for instance, the start here file, but also the conventions file, which is used for giving more context for the CLI, for instance, for Claude or Codex, so that the large language model knows exactly what the project is about. Afterwards, there's the .claude folder. So most likely you know it. It's a folder where you can store hooks, agents, and also skills. And since these are not mapped to any domain, so common skills, that is the reason why they are located in the root folder. So let's say you want to add a new client to the Agentic operating system or add a new domain as well as a skill, then that would be done inside of the root folder. And afterwards, we have the domains. So in my case, I named it skills, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you name it domains, skills, or anything else. The only thing that is important is that this is the only location where you store all the skills, scripts, as well as domain knowledge that might be interesting for the skill itself. And the structure is, as you can see it here, so domains is a subfolder in the Agentic operating system. And afterwards, every single domain is a own folder. As an example, social media, finance, reporting. You can also add, for instance, domain for content generation, image generation, and so forth. And the next important folder is the clients folder. And there's also a reason why domains and clients are separated, because you don't want to include any specific client information in a skill, because then this skill is kind of tied to a client and you don't want that, because a skill should be something that is generic, can be used across different clients. The next important folder is the clients folder, and it contains two subfolders. So a shared folder, which is, for instance, for all the things that are shared across all the clients. Let's say you have two clients and you want to publish content for them, let's say on Instagram. Then you can add specific things that are tied to a platform. Let's say the maximum length of the description, maximum count of hashtags, and so forth. This would be stored in something in a shared folder so that you don't have to repeat yourself over and over again. And apart from that, it's also then easier to manage the configuration overall because you just have a single place. And the next folder, in this case, it's called example, but that would be the client. So you have the brand voice, audience, brand colors. Maybe you have more accounts for a specific client. Let's say an account for TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, a WordPress site. Then all of that would be stored in the accounts folder. And there's also an assets folder, which is, for instance, used for logos, fonts, styling, brand colors. Maybe you have also already an image library. Then all of that could be stored inside of the assets folder. And the last section here is for storing, first of all, documentation for the project itself. Then we have also a GitHub folder for workflow, so a CI pipeline. And really important, an environment file for storing secrets and API keys, as well as a gitignore file and everything that is important for developing the system, so increasing the version, as well as a file for the releasing process. That was on a high level the folder structure of the Agentic operating system. Now let's have a look into how that works internally. And for that, there are in total 7 layers, and we will go through them from the bottom to the top. So the first layer is about integrations. And as an example, Git is used for version control. Python is used for writing scripts in order to communicate with external APIs. Then we have GitHub, where the Agentic operating system is kind of stored, and also several MCP servers. And next to that, we have also kind of plugin services. As an example, I am using CLI for generating images. So it is an API that gives me access to image models such as Nano Banana, GBT2, Seedream, Flux, and so forth, but also video models in case I want to generate videos. So the Agentic operating system is able to consume this API, which allows it to generate content for different use cases. And to give an example, all of these images here were generated with the infographic skill. So the infographic skill knows exactly how to generate these type of images, and then it sends a prompt to the API from CLI in order to retrieve the image. And this logic is actually also applied for other services. As an example, there is Google, for instance, for the YouTube data API, Google Sheets, Gmail, Slides, and so forth, which means the Agentic operating system is able to store content on Google Drive, read my emails, and also sort my emails, send emails. So depending on how many APIs you activate, it gets really flexible and also really powerful. Next to that, I have also Firecrawl for scraping content, the Playwright MCP server for navigating and also controlling a browser, so for taking screenshots and consuming everything where an API is not available. And then there's also MailerLite and School. So for instance, MailerLite is used for managing my newsletters. And I have also a custom integration that I used together with Playwright and School in order to automate repetitive tasks with my Agentic operating system as well. The next layer is about storage. So whenever you do something, then there's a memory file, so kind of a history that is append only, so it builds incrementally, which allows me to check within the memory file what was done in the past so that I don't have to remember that by myself. And of course, there's also the output folder. So as an example, let's say you generate an infographic for a specific client, then it would be stored inside of the output folder. So in my case, I've created an application out of that. So I have the infographics domain. And whenever I create something in my Agentic operating system, either by using Claude Code in the CLI or also in the desktop app, then it gets saved into my assets folder, which is then also consumed by this application here. The third layer is about the domains and also clients. So they never get mixed, which means there's internally always a question, what do you want to do with who? So let's say you want to create social media content. Then the skill picks the brand voice and also context based on the client. And that is also the reason why the next layer is about the client resolution. So there are two ways to work with that system. You can either start a session and define in the beginning you want to work on client A, for instance. Then through the whole session, every skill will be used for the specific client, but you can also use arguments. So let's say you have a social media skill, then you can use a social media skill and add as an argument the client name, which allows you to work on multiple clients in a single session. The next layer is about the runtime of the skills. So this one depends highly on how you want to structure it, but I usually like to first of all resolve the client, read the context, gather all the information, and then also include a human in the loop step. As an example, let's say I am creating content for social media, and instead of saying like, hey, create an infographic about this specific topic and then post it, I like to divide it into specific steps and also have a human in the loop step so that I can review the content, update it in case I'm not happy with it. And then once I'm happy with it, then I can continue within the skill and then, for instance, publish the content to social media. Another important layer is the composition. So I like to divide skills into separate things. So let's say I want to generate an image, then I want to have a specific skill that can do that. But let's say I want to generate a carousel for Instagram, then I don't want to execute all of the skills manually or by having a conversation. And instead I chain these skills. So as an example, draft carousel will call the diagram skill, and afterwards, when I'm happy with the content, then it will call the post to Instagram skill. So I have to execute only one specific skill, which knows internally what are the next step, so that I don't have to do that manually. The last layer is the orchestrator. So this one can be, for instance, Claude Code, Codex, Gemini CLI, the Kimi CLI. So it doesn't matter because the whole structure is CLI-agnostic. It's not important which CLI you use, but also which LLM provider. And on top of that, the most important thing, which is actually you, because you have to talk to that system and either invoke the skills manually by typing the command or executing them by using specific trigger words so that Claude Code or any other CLI knows to execute a specific skill. So that is in a nutshell how the agentic operating system works internally. And last but not least, let me give you an example how I am using it. So everything is stored in GitHub in my case. And as you can see, I have my account. So I have several YouTube channels and also channels for TikTok, Instagram, and so forth. I've made even an app on top of the agentic operating system. So I can either use it right in the CLI or Claude Desktop. But I also created the application for everything that is, first of all, deterministic and does not need any large language models at all. As an example, let's say I am monitoring specific competitors, I am monitoring channels, I'm also monitoring other school communities, and all of that does not need any large language model because it's deterministic and just writing one time a script and then calling different APIs. It could be also done by using a skill, but in my opinion, that doesn't make sense because I want to save tokens and not spend them on something that can be also solved with a simple script and just calling an API. And the cool thing is that this application is also able to execute skills, for instance, for Claude Code. To give an example, I have here a section for comparing thumbnails, and the content I provide is usually the SRT file, so the transcript that Claude knows what is the video about. But I also pass up to 6 images, and then I have a specific skill that compares them, and afterwards it generates for me a comparison. So as an example, here I compared 5 different thumbnails, and then it told me, hey, this thumbnail looks the best, and I would recommend to use these specific title ideas. And this is definitely a really convenient way also to execute skills, because of course I could do exactly the same inside of the terminal by using the CLI, and then I just pass the images and also a path to the transcript. But I usually prefer to have something visual, so kind of on front end when I know that I have to do something on a regular basis. And apart from that, the application is also deployed on my home lab, so I can use that from different devices, use it from my phone, which allows me to use my agentic operating system either by using the skills, but also by using the frontend that I have created for it. That's it already regarding this video. In case you do have any questions or you want to have a deep dive into a specific topic, then let me know. And in case you're interested in learning how to leverage tools such as Claude Code, Codex, but also automation tools such as n8n, then feel free to check out my community. Thanks for watching, and we will hear each other in the next video.